we left you last week, we had just finished the wallpaper. The next day we had guests arriving, which meant that we spent all day doing a lot of cleanup and trying to get the bedrooms ready and whatnot. But thanks again to Laura and a little bit of legwork, and we were all ready to go.
We picked up these pheasants at a brocante one time over at Brent's home, and this one is a bit rogue. So he's okay for a little bit, but then you kind of leave him alone, and over he goes.
Dead bird.
And you never know how long he's going to last in an upright position, so it's a bit of a surprise to everyone when at some point halfway through supper, he just rolls over. We have decided to attack the cocktail corner cabinet. It's a little bit old. There's some, things that need to be refreshed. We have a plan. Let's see if we can pull it together today. Do you think we can do this, Laura? Yeah.
Painting, revamping. I mean, we did this whole thing in 3 days, right?
Exactly.
So, piece of cake.
It's kind of less words.
So problem number 1 is to get these shelves out, but of course they're just nailed in and paint. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Painted over?
is pretty much.
Yeah.
You can't even see the other nails.
Okay.
So
Well, shout out to my friend Teresa, where we may have to do some percussive maintenance to get these guys out, which basically means whack it with a hammer. Laura, with her remarkable strength, and nothing to do with me with a hammer at all, is ripping this out by hand because she is a woman.
I don't even know how to start because they're attached to each other as well.
Oh, okay. The hammer's right there. Give her if you need her. Nice. My sound editor will thank you for that. Woo! Yay! Laura is priming away.
Yeah.
I have made quiche for lunch. This is my contribution to today's efforts.
And it's a nice combination.
It is going to be like brie and lardon quiche, so I mean it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Priming is done. Thank you, Laura. Quiche was fantastic, if I do say so
Oh
myself.
yeah. It was. Thank you for making one.
Now we are, debating whether we can break the rules of waiting 6 hours for the darn thing to dry before we do the next step. And we know the right answer is yes. However,
Hair dryer?
yeah.
What you doing?
I am taping off around the opening there so that we can try some gold spray paint in the back.
Ooh.
We're really not sure this is a good idea. It may get covered by something else at some point, but we
Yeah.
have gold spray paint and we thought we would just try it. But obviously I don't want it to get outside of the box or on our new paint job or on the floor or anything like
Yeah.
that. So I'm just taping off.
Yeah, and we can, we'll try with the gold spray paint. You got to remember, we're building a unit to go in here anyway, so it'll cover most of it, I think.
Yeah.
But it'll just add that little bit of sparkle. We're going to put some light into, I think.
Yeah.
So, it'll just add a little shine to it.
Like a little fancy cocktail corner.
Yeah, and the door that was on there, we're going to put a bit of glass in and make it a glass-faced cabinet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
What do you think?
that's the.
It was, I
safe
think it
look.
was, you know, very recently Fashion Week in Paris, I believe. I mean, they really missed an opportunity here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Only
All right.
missing the gloves.
Yeah, we're gonna give this a go. Weirdly, Steve was giving me advice on how to spray paint, so maybe there's something about his youth that I am not familiar with, but here I go, wish me luck. Okay. Nope. It's a very fine, it's a very fine spray. This is gonna take a while. I have to say, I'm not really loving the look of it, but Laura's perhaps come up with a genius finishing effect.
I don't know.
Have at.
Oh no, it doesn't do anything.
Oh no, it's already too dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going in for maybe a bit of a brushed effect, but basically we don't have quite enough gold paint to really finish this, so I don't know that I really like it.
So I've come to my local Brico Depot, just sort of like Home Depot back in Canada, to pick up some wood for the shelving unit. So they have these wonderful big pieces of timber here. Now these are laminate with chipboard underneath, but this is actually beech wood that's obviously been laminated together. And I think we'll use this because it's got a lovely grain to it, and I think that'll look really nicely in the drinks cabinet. So I'm going to get a couple of panels for that so that we can do the big X at the top for the bottles and the shelf at the bottom for the display. Well, we are making progress on the drinks cabinet for the dining room. For my part, I'm going to start building the units that we're going to put in there for storage of wine and glasses. And the first thing I need to do is put some new shelves in there. The ones that were in there before were a little wonky and a little falling apart. So I'm going to try and get them nice and tidy. So I went, as you saw, to the hardware store and I got some lovely planks of beechwood. And now I'm going to draw up the lines. It's, of course, not straight. So we're going to try and do a cut through these and get some shelves made. So I've made my first line here. I've set up the ruler so that I can run the blade along it, hopefully to keep it nice and straight. But you can see here, so it's 78 centimeters on this side and 80 centimeters on that side. And that's just simply the way that the cabinet is built. So first cut, and then we'll have our first shelf.
How's it going? Could it be that the walls aren't perfectly level?
Well, they're not straight, and I've been, I thought I compensated enough for that, but apparently not.
No, a little bit more of a bow than you expected. I saw you going at it with the sander a little bit.
Well, unless I put this in backwards.
Uh-huh.
Completely possible. Nope. Nope, that's definitely the lighter side. Because there's almost a 2 centimeter difference between the back and the front.
Oh, wow.
And I cut for that.
Yeah.
But apparently there's a bow in the wall. Nope, definitely gonna have to take a little bit off that edge.
Sarah's thinking now maybe we'll do a fabric on the back of the wall.
Yeah.
And this is kind of fun because it's got shiny gold, which will pick up the lights. It's
Yeah.
obviously got the blue to match, and the wallpaper will work quite well against it. So that could be a lot of fun.
That could be hilarious.
Yeah.
easily removed if we don't like it.
Yeah, and obviously the units are still going to be up against it, the wooden unit, so
Yeah.
not going to see a ton of it.
Just be a nice little surprise in the background.
sparkle.
I like
Yeah.
that. We're also looking at fuzzy texture. That might be interesting.
Cover all the imperfections of the walls back there.
Yeah. So since this is relatively inexpensive, it's about €3 a meter.
Yeah.
This feels like a fun choice that we can try, and if we want to change it when we get the panels up.
Yeah, but I think if we're going to stain the wood units that we're going to put in there to sort of match the furniture, this could be kind of fun on the back. You're not going to see a ton of it, so. Yeah.
Interesting.
I like it.
Give it a try?
Sure.
Okay. We're back from the store, and what's happening in here now needs to be dealt with. I mean, it was a test, but yeah, I think you guys will agree, not a great one. So we have the material, and we have some stain for the wood, and let's see what we can pull together. I'm gonna see if Steve wants me to stain the wood or whether he'd rather do that himself, and I'm gonna make a template out of cardboard for the back and probably the sides, and we'll see what we can do with some glue gun and some fabric.
What am I doing?
We're playing tag team across the big table and the big piece of cardboard and fabric. So you just want to put a little dollop in the corner there just to tack it down. Most of the glue is going to go on the back to hold it down, but we just don't want it to slide when we turn this over, basically. So
Something like that.
yep. And then either side of where we cut out for the shelves, I think would be good. Good stuff. Just enough to roll around. Okay, and then my turn. Down here.
Camera?
Sure.
Hand off.
Tag team. Okay, very good.
Just the bottom.
A little bit at the bottom. As always, I'm never quite sure about the color, but I kind of find that the fun part of all this is that this is very replaceable. It wasn't crazy expensive to do, and
Yeah.
we could even switch it out seasonally. Like if we wanted to put a Christmas backdrop in, really, we could, right? So.
You say that, but once I get the wood units in there, they are not coming out.
Okay.
Or it's going to be tricky to get them out.
Okay, maybe
So.
you can think about that?
Oh, that would take a whole other level of carpentry that I don't think I have. But
Okay, we need an armory for that.
we
is
need
what you're
armory,
saying.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
all right.
Yeah, and unfortunately on screen, well, there you go. The color keeps changing on there. It is sort of a very yellowy gold, but yeah, depending on which light I go on here, it changes quite drastically. I will confess, this is the part of doing the sewing that Sarah does that always freaks me out. The idea of cutting fabric actually freaks me out a little bit because it feels like it's so permanent.
It really is.
You can't stitch it back together once it's cut. So
Well, I mean, the whole point of sewing is to stitch it back together, but you know,
there
is a very real thing. Like the cutting the fabric fear is very real, especially with really expensive fabrics, which this isn't. But
Yeah.
like when you've got a silk, I literally texted out to somebody going, "I'm cutting the silk. Can someone encourage me?"
yeah,
It's a real thing with the sewing.
yeah, no kidding. You know, I mean, I know fabric
there's a lot of it in the world, but as you say, when it's expensive stuff, it's a little terrifying.
Yeah. More glue, I need more glue.
Oh, fancy.
It's shiny and floofy.
It is. And try it in.
Yep.
That's pretty shiny. I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's going to look really good with the wood shelves in there. And there'll be, you know, the wine rack on the top.
I'm worried that I've made too much of a gap off to the side here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we weren't quite sure if we've got enough fabric.
Because, you know, why measure first and actually figure out your square meterage before you go to the fabric store? Why do that? That would be sensible.
But laying out the other sections here, I think there should be enough.
Yeah.
It's going to be tight.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: we're going to be economical with our fabric, right? I mean,
As you should be.
That's right. I think it'll work in the end.
No, don't show anybody this cutting method. This is all wrong, honey. They'll yell at me. This haphazard, just enough, non-measured zigzag.
We're showing you how it's not to be done. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Don't do it this way. You're getting sewers.
You're seeing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Tune in next week to see if we can make a silk purse out of this sow's ear.
We made a rather interesting discovery the other day when somebody contacted us about a plot of land that we own. They were asking, we actually haven't gotten in touch with the person yet, so we're not quite sure why they were trying to contact us about it. However, we looked it on the map and realized that there's two small plots of land that are not actually right at the chateau, so they're not contiguous with the chateau. And this little plot of land behind us, this tiny little wooded area underneath the beautiful viaduct here, actually belongs to the chateau. A lot of the big homes, when they were broken up, the plots of land were sold off, and so therefore you get this sort of instance happening quite often where, you know, we obviously have where the chateau is, there's quite a bit of property around it, but there's also some plots of land that we own that are not necessarily attached to the chateau itself. So there we go. We just discovered this, and we are exploring our little plots of land that are not too far. I mean, we can see the chateau from here. Unfortunately, it's through a bunch of trees, but yeah, it's not actually attached to the chateau itself. Kind of interesting. What do you think?
There might be a hole up in that cliff edge, and I'm wondering if we can go spelunking.
Yeah. Wow, it does look like there's a cave up there, doesn't it?
Right?
Huh.
But other than that, I see no signs of habitation. And I think it might make a beautiful spot for our Belle Epoque en plein air for the painters to come and sort of set up. And it would be nicely shaded, but if we did a bit of clearing out, you could have a nice view of the viaduct.
Yeah, or we could sit them in the cliff there as well.
Yeah.
And there is actually, we know beyond the viaduct here, there's another small plot of land that is also part of the chateau property. So yeah, we'll have to discover that bit as well.
Yeah.
So there we go. We just decided to hike up here, and you can see this cliff edge. And it looks like there's, well, some overhang. Whether there's anything further underneath there, we're not sure. But there we go. We have a cliff. Although I think this is probably the end of our land. It is, as we say, just a small plot. We think we have found the other lost plot that we didn't know was attached to the property. It seems to be all these woods here. I'm not quite sure how far. It's a bit hard to tell really on the map. But yeah, there we go. We got more trees, love.
We do have more trees.
But yeah, you can see the cliff edge is still there. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's the border of it. Who knew?
Well, the notaire knew.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yes, we probably should have inquired more when we were doing the initial meeting, but okay.
And they asked if we understood all the pieces we were getting. And I said, yes, absolutely, yes.
We'd seen the map. We figured we had it all sorted, but apparently,
Not so much.
there we go. Laura is making herself at home in our newly found property. Found some soft moss to sit on. It's a beautiful day. Look at these beautiful blue skies. For now.
Sad times. Thank you again, Laura. You've been amazing.
Thank you so much, really, for everything.
Your next people are lucky.
They are indeed. Come back and see us.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
When it's warmer.
Yeah, exactly. Bye. Bye.